This diagram right here is going to make you understand why you keep losing your confidence every single time. Perhaps you watch these confidence mindset videos, maybe from me, maybe from other creators, and you get a bit hyped up. Then you have nice social interactions, you can embody that confidence a bit more, but then it just keeps fading away and social anxiety keeps coming back and taking charge of you. You become so tense, you feel so much pressure, and it's quite random, it doesn't make any sense. So imagine this middle line you see here as your lifespan. This is the point you're born at, this is the point you're gonna pass away. If we were to take this little segment in here and zoom in on it, we will end up with this diagram. I know it kind of looks like chemistry, or at least to me, but that's not the point of it. What you see here is a series of moments. Every single dot you see here is a moment in time, a social interaction, if you will. Now, these moments are connected. This is the first one, you're loose, you're carefree, you're a child still, maybe you're in primary school. Then you interact with a couple of new colleagues, then you have a nice experience where you go out and play football or something. But then you encounter this traumatic event. It hurts, it's horrible, everyone's laughing at you, and you lose control over yourself here. You just wanna disappear. You want it to be over with as soon as possible. You think the whole world is rejecting you. It's a very, very traumatic experience. You probably went through something similar. And then you decide that the course of your social life has to change because it's not safe anymore to keep being like this. So you become a bit more tense and a bit more shy. Now you keep living your life like this and you have another social encounter, but you realize that you don't really like acting like this, so something has to change. So you take a step in the right direction to return to this initial direction you were on, but then again, it's scary. You just remember how you felt when you were more carefree back like a few days ago or something. You see, this connection is your memory of it. This connection is why you are afraid of the event. And you realize that it's way too bad. So you just have to return to the safer route, to the route of shyness, of anxiety, and you keep living your life like this. Then you make a bit of progress again, then you maybe try to improve your social skills. You take all of these outside approaches which only push you away from the authenticity, which is back like down here. And then you make a bit of progress finally, and you return to, I know this is not like a perfectly straight line, but this is supposed to be your authenticity, like the way you are truly meant to behave when you're carefree, you're relaxed. And you have a couple of experiences like that, but then again, there is a certain event that triggers that traumatic event from the past. And you remember everything and you start being anxious again. You lose control over yourself. You just want to escape that at all costs. And because you want to escape it, you take a step back into the direction of shyness. And your entire social life just keeps being this series of ups and downs and ups and downs, and you're lost. Well, the reason you lose control over yourself, the reason you lose your confidence, is simply because you have an attachment to this certain event. Like if we were to just erase this event completely, you would have nothing to remember in these moments, in these gray dots, and then you would be free all of a sudden. But of course, we can't erase the moment from the past. The best thing we could do is to just break this down. This pen is not really drawing properly, but we should just break this connection completely, and this one as well. There is this very, very good book that's called The Courage to be Disliked, and it's written by two Japanese men. I really recommend reading it. And they are breaking down the life philosophy of this psychoanalyst called Alfred Adler. He's a very iconic one that lived in the past century, and he came up with the idea that life is a series of independent moments, like you're seeing here. Instead of being a series of moments that are connected by something, it's just like one moment after the next, one after the other after the other. And then you have nothing to connect them, right? You don't have this line, which is basically just your choice of giving importance to this moment. If you can look at this certain event, the fourth one, just like here, it's gray, right? It was traumatic, it was negative. But if you would have the mentality to just live in the moment, then when you get to this point, which is again a very traumatic event, perhaps something that should have triggered you if you viewed your life like this, Here you don't have a connection. There is no connection because these moments are all independent of one another. You see the brilliance of it? All you have to do is to basically focus on the present and understand that in every single moment, you can just be whoever you want to be. You don't have to give importance to these traumatic events from the past, to your bully friends and classmates and whatever. At the same time, we have to understand that if you were to just take this advice and, understand it properly and slightly shift your mindset, then it's just another mindset video you're watching and nothing actually changes. But the question here is how do we get to the point where we view life like this and not like this? How do we break this line even? And that's done through the process of letting go. Because this is nothing more than emotional baggage. The way to go from something like this to something like this, where there is no emotional baggage because this is just an independent event from the previous one, is to let go of it. And the process of letting go is all about emotional management, basically. You have that emotional baggage I just talked about, which is a certain negative sensation inside of you, something that you feel it makes no sense and it makes you extremely tense, it makes you extremely pressured, you feel like you have to perform, you feel like you have to put a lot of effort into this, right? And the key of this is always going to be emotional management. It makes a lot of sense actually, because if it was something about your mindset, if it was something about thinking, then you would have solved it already. Then any one of these videos you've been watching would have just made the click for you. But it's obvious that it's something more than just thinking about this. That's why you have to manage your emotions properly. You might say that it's like emotional intelligence and all of these things, but it doesn't really matter. These labels don't matter. The practice is what matters. How do you actually break that connection between your present moments, your social interactions occurring right here, right now, and that traumatic social interaction that had happened in the past? And the way for you to do that is to try to feel the worst case scenario. Perhaps some of your friends made fun of you, perhaps some of your friends laughed at you, or perhaps you said a joke and no one laughed, like back in the day when you were younger. And that was the initial traumatic event. And from then, every single interaction you've had, you are just trying to avoid the situation in which people don't laugh at your jokes, or to avoid the situation in which people just make fun of you. And in order to do that, you have to play it safe, right? Because your goal is to avoid that at all costs. What if you were to just accept that maybe, like, there is a bit of a possibility that some people will not laugh at your jokes, that some people will still make fun of you, and it's forever gonna happen, and it's out of your control. This might sound scary, this might sound like not that good of an idea, because then you're gonna be in danger again, then you're gonna feel like you're, I don't know, at gunpoint, you're in a horrible experience socially, but you don't have to view it like that. You have to understand this mindset things again. Like, you don't have control over how people treat you anyway. People could reject you still, despite the fact that you're trying to grasp so tightly over reality and to try to manipulate them into perceiving you in a certain way. You don't have any control over that. In fact, if you were to just let loose completely, the outcome you would get in that situation wouldn't be at all worse than the outcome you get when you hold on so tightly, when you are carefully trying to manipulate them and to alter your behavior in a perfect way. You have no control over this, it's simply an illusion. And maybe in the past you had some control, maybe in certain circumstances from the past, this did serve you well. But what worked back then is not gonna work right now. And then again, just think about how powerful you would become when you don't fear a certain outcome anymore. Because now you're just optimizing every single social experience in order to not lose, in order to not be rejected. What if you were to just be, without trying to optimize anything, without trying to control everything or anything? You can just be. And if you are just being yourself, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have an expectation of your social situations, then you are invincible. You're not vulnerable anymore. And you might think that, okay, but like if I'm not careful about these things, then people might take advantage of me, people might manipulate me or bully me or judge me. Is that gonna affect your life really? Like logically thinking about this, is this really gonna make a difference in your life? Because I bet it won't. And you'll probably come to the same conclusion as well. Because you're not living in a social war zone anymore. It's just something that occurred in the past. So then the exact practice you have to go through is to try to feel the emotions coming up inside your body that correspond to you going through a worst case scenario socially. Imagine meeting a new group of people, or imagine just hanging out with your friends on a regular day. What's the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that could happen right there and then? Perhaps it's them not laughing at your jokes. Again, perhaps it's them making fun of you with every single thing you're saying. What if you were to accept that? What if you feel these emotions, you feel all of that resistance, you want to avoid that at all costs, and instead of running away from it, instead of trying to cope with reality and manipulate everyone into avoiding such a situation, you just go straight to it. You dive straight in. Picture this just like you would have a pool of quite cold water, and you're at a pool party with your friends and they're all having fun in the water, and you're just kind of touching the water. You realize, oh my god, like it's too cold, I don't want to jump, I don't want to get in because it's gonna be too unpleasant for me, my skin is gonna hurt, it's gonna suck. So you just stay on the surface. They are having fun in there, in the water. You're out there by yourself because it's safer. Is it really worth it? Because you probably know how this works. After you jump, okay, it's unpleasant to the skin for a short while, but then you just get used to it, and then it becomes fun. And you are part of the group, you're integrated there. You respect yourself, you're having a good time. Of course, you feel like an outsider if you're just on the outside, literally. And when you get into this process, when you are really trying to process your emotions, your resistance to that worst case scenario, what you're gonna realize is that it's just like the cold water pool. You fear getting inside because you fear it's gonna be painful and unpleasant, but once you're in, it's not that bad. Once you're in, it's really enjoyable as well. It's just an illusion caused by your fear, caused by your defensive mechanisms, these ancient things we have with us that were meant to serve us back in the day, but they are not serving us very well right here, right now, because, as I said, we're not in danger. There is no tiger hunting you right now. You're safe. There is nothing bad that can happen to you. So go ahead and try to accept this worst case scenario. Do this in your social situations as well, like out there with your friends, with strangers, with the people on the outside, in the common environment you're in. And do this home alone as well. Just try to picture them, combine them together, iterate through this, and then boom, your confidence won't go away anymore. Then you can just go on and be yourself, and you don't have these doubts, this diminishing voice, this criticizing voice anymore. It's a beautiful result, honestly, and I really want you to get there as well. If you've watched so far, then you truly have it in you. I guarantee that you have it in you. Because most people hearing about this emotional management type of stuff, they're just like, yeah, come on, I just want another mindset video anyway, this is too boring. You do have it in you, and you are not that far away from reaching this state. You just have to put in the proper work. And if you want my personal guidance with this, I have a link in the description, and you can book a free one-on-one call with me, and I will take you through this process personally. I'll teach you everything you need to know, tailored to your current life situation, to your personality, and I'll give you constant feedback. I'll be with you through the process, literally. So go ahead and take a look if you're interested.